In this exercise, I will introduce you to how we can build a three-dimensional space in Blender. And this is a very good exercise also for industrial design students to learn how to build virtual spaces, because at one point you will have to place also your product or your object you designed into a space. Is it a furniture piece? Is it a product? Let's say a kitchen appliance you want to put onto or into a kitchen. Well, then you have two choices. Find a photo that hopefully matches, or simply quickly generate a three-dimensional placeholder environment that supports your storytelling. I personally go with the last one since I'm more in control. So we will start with this reference sketch I made here. This video is for industrial design students. So when it comes to the drafting, I simplified this a lot to explain to you what you see on the left side. That is a plan view. Now you can see there's a storage and a studio. There are some dimensions outside for the distances. And there's 1, 2, and 3. This actually are elevation views for the south wall with a window, east wall with bifold doors, and the north wall with the door. And then here, this is a sketch for the trim that will go around everything. Again, since this is also for industrial design more, I will use a language that is easier to remember and use. Okay, so first thing we have to do is we will fire up Blender and we will import our image. Now we can go background, desktop, and there's our reference. Very good. Okay. We want to set our scene in this exercise to feet or inches. Now we can work in feet. We will switch around a little bit. It's actually quite good to see this. Then this image we can move to the side. This is not a correct, or this is actually just a sketch. So this is not architecturally dimension-wise correct. Just the measurements are correct, but the rest is more an illustration. So we will use this as a reference. So how do we start? We have essentially one room and another room. Then we have exterior and interior walls. To simplify everything, we keep actually the walls the same thickness. So technically speaking, we have one rectangle, another rectangle, and then stuff around. So let me show you various ways how we can very easily approach this. So Shift A, make a plane, and here, so this is 11 feet and 8 inches. So we can press N. So Y, this is then here, this should be 11 feet 8 inches. Very good. When I type in 11 feet 8 inches, you see how this is displayed. We can also turn this separate units on. Then there you see 11 feet 8 inches. Pretty nice. And this distance is 11 feet 2 inches. So here 11 feet 2 inches. Okay. Control A, apply the scale. Now we have a rectangle that perfectly shows you the proportion of the studio space. So how do we do the walls? I will show you like one way now, and then I will show you a different way, just to show you there are various methods how you can do this. I will Shift A, make another plane, and then I say this is 5 inches and 5 inches. Again, we simplify that interior and exterior walls are just 5 inches. Okay, very good. Move this to there. Control A, apply scale. Snapping to vertex. G, hold control, and we snap it to there. Okay. Then we can go into edit mode. And I do the following. Shift D, bring this over. Snap, Shift D, bring this to there. G and snap, Shift D, bring this to there, G and snap. You see how I put actually these corner pieces to there. And then with B, I can select all those, and F, fill this, A, deselect everything, B and F, A, B, and F, A, B, and F. There. Super easy, no? Okay, and we can select this rectangle in object mode. This is 1 foot and 11 inches, so Shift D and escape. Height is correct, just X 1 foot 11 inches. There we are. I can bring this over, bring this back to snap to there, select our wall, go into edit mode, AA, and we'll select all this. Shift D and press X, G and X, and then we snap it back to there, AA, B, F, AA, B, and F. Okay, so you saw this actually super easy. We simply place corner rectangles onto room, and then we can very quickly connect the shapes for the walls. Let me show you now a second way. So Shift D, I will bring this one down like to here. Okay. So I now 5 inches and 5 inches and 5 inches. So this is actually 10 inches. So this room needs along each direction 10 inches. And then there, plus 10 inches there. Let's double check that this is correct. This should perfectly overlay. Yeah, it does. You see also here and there. Okay, very good. And then Control A and scale. So you see to the interior dimension of this room, I added actually the dimension for the wall thickness. Now, since I have this in as a reference, in edit mode, I will select these points, move this over and snap to there. So now I have the correct length. I could also have calculated these two interiors plus 5, plus 5, plus 5 inches. Okay, so why did I do this? So I basically created the exterior shape, and then to create the wall I can press I. There we are. Click, and then here we say 5 inches. Very good. So you see, via this method, it just creates with 45-degree corner lines the walls. I do not have something for this wall. This is, however, very easy to do. So Control R, click, doesn't matter where I go to. There we are. So now I have a line. I could Control R and then bring this over, S and X, try to adjust it, and then GG bring this over. So now they are lined up. I also do not have the auto merge turned on, and then bring this to there via -5 inches. So now I have actually a wall that is 5 inches thick. Was a little bit labor intensive, so let me show you a better way. So just to make sure that when I press Control R, you see the yellow line is really straight, SX and 0, so it's nice and straight. And now Control B, I simply bevel it to 5 inches. Zack. There we are. No, 2.5 inches, because it's a bevel, left and right is then the diameter, because the width for a bevel is the radius, but we need a diameter. So half of 5 inches. Very good. Now, 1 foot 11 inches. How do we do this? Well, this is actually pretty easy. We first can turn this one on, then we bring this over, and there you can see 1 foot and 11 inches. We could also, for example, G and X, hold control, snap this really to there, and then G and X, bring this back by -1 foot 11 inches. Oh, hold on, 1 foot 11 inches. Oh, positive. Yeah. So 1 foot 11 inches. What distance do I have here? 1 foot 11 inches. Okay, interesting. How did this happen? Let's do this one more time. GG. Oh, not GG. Bring this over. No, I understand. Okay. I was still modifying this command, my fault. So I select something else and then I go back, Alt click and Alt Shift click, select this geometry, and now a second time I bring this over. 1 foot 11 inches. Okay. In architecture modeling, nothing is precise to a millimeter. Walls are not really perfect. So the second method, so which I showed you right now, is actually more precise. But honestly, if you ask me what I would do, I would just simply move it and then pay attention to when does this read out as 1 foot 11 inches done. Okay, very nice. So the last step we have to do now is select this rectangle and separate it. Select this rectangle via P, or going to mesh separate there. We move these out because we want those to be individual objects. But this is pretty much another process how you can do the modeling. Pretty easy too. You see the end result is very close. Here we just have corner elements. Why do I actually like process one more? So the second version here I will delete is for a very simple reason. So let's say for presentation purpose, I want to add little wall fragments. So here I have exactly the wall thickness I could drag out. Previously I only had mitered edges. I didn't have actually wall thickness lines. So that's the reason why I like this one more. Also, adding all the details for doors and windows openings. It's actually a lot easier in this view too. Okay, so we have our wall system. Let's go to object mode and set up our environment a little bit. This is actually our reference. Very good. Can put this maybe to there. And then we call this wall. And we will call these two pieces, they're individual. We will actually join them. So object join. So it's one object with both meshes in it. We will call this subfloor. No, actually we will call this floor. Very good. Okay. This actually, they sit on the subfloor. The wall has a height of 8 feet. How can we do this? We want to set up our environment so we can manipulate everything super easy and fast. I could go into edit mode, select everything, easy, type in 8 inches. No, totally possible. Or I could also make this a little bit easier. So I hit undo a few times. I simply give this a solidify modifier. Complex, thickness 8 feet, to the correct direction, and there we are. Cool. Okay, now. For example, my floor, let's say this should be our hardwood floor. We can give this a solidify modifier too. Maybe we use a nice thick hardwood floor, 1/2 of an inch. But then we have to make sure what direction. So now I went to the wrong direction. Zip, go up. Very good. Now, technically speaking, under this, everything would sit on a subfloor. We could actually model this too. So here, bring this over, bring this down, go into edit mode, select this edge, bring this over there, select this, bring this over to there. Cool. Then I could extrude these pieces. Can quickly do this, subdivide. There's an edge, E and Y, go over, select this, bring this edge over, and snap here. Right click, subdivide, 2 cuts please, U, E and X, go to there, select this edge, bring this up, in here, E and X, and there. Cool. So on the subfloor, now this will be a solidify modifier 2, 3/4 of an inch, complex. Yeah, that goes, which direction does it go? Yeah, it has to go down, so -1. All good. Okay. Very good. So this is basically the construction material everything sits on, and then onto that we put our hardwood floor, carpet, or whatever. Okay. So that means this here we could call, this is floor, and then I simply put sub under it. So we are sorting the objects are a lot easier to reach. And I call this maybe space. There. Nice. So the walls are actually done, the floor done. Now how do we do window and door? Again, everything what we want to do in Blender is set everything up so we can very quickly modify stuff without much work. Let's take a look at the door we have. So the door has a 30 by 80 inch opening, and then we also have a frame that goes around it. Okay, so Shift A, make a cube. Then Y, let's say we make this 6 inches, so a little bit bigger than the wall. X would be 30 inches and Z would be 80 inches. Very good. Then we can move this one up, move this one over. Now you see a little bit left and right how it goes through the wall. And then we move this one down. So now, for example, it might be easier to go ahead and say our floor we remove. So we only see maybe the subfloor, or even the subfloor I turn off. So I just really only can snap the door to the bottom of the wall very easily. Okay, no? And then we can bring this over, but by how much? So here we see there's a distance from the wall to the end of the frame by 2 feet and 11 inches. And this frame, the trim is 6 centimeters. Let me show you a little trick. So we create a small rectangle, and then we say 6 centimeters and 6 centimeters. Very good. So that's actually the trim. And 1.5, so this would be Y, 1.5 centimeters there. 6 centimeters. 1.5 centimeters. I typed everything in inches, not centimeters. So yeah, so kind of like something like this. And then, so why did I do this? It's actually very simple, and this is kind of like a common process also to use when we work on geometry. And we maybe want to very quickly measure distances, but instead of having a ruler or something, we simply use with geometry templates. So this is now, this corner is what we have measured here. And now I 2 feet 11 inches. Shift D, so along X, 2 feet 11 inches. Okay, there we are. Bring this over, bring this to there, bring this to there. Zack. Okay, so now I can see when I select these two, bring this over and then bring this back, hold Control, how this snaps to this distance. Shift D and X, bring this over. Yeah, and there's a tiny gap, that's also correct. Okay, so this is kind of like very precisely positioned. So the door is actually good. These rectangles I, in general, use a lot when instead of doing measurements, because this is an object, I can give a dimension and then also visually see. Sometimes I find this actually quite old school, yet still very useful. So I use this as mesh guides, or you can give this any name you want. Cool. Okay. The door object here, we will set viewport to wire and then make a new collection and call this openings, for example. And we will call this door boolean and put it in there. Very nice. And yeah, so for the wall, or to the wall, we will add now a boolean modifier. And then before we do this, let's save. And go collection and select openings. Zack, there. The nice thing is, in mesh mode, here I can just work with the walls. I can move them around. And then the opening is done automatically. If I need to move the door, well, I just move this rectangle. So this is actually a huge, huge time saver. Very good. Okay, so how can we do, for example, this very quickly? So we have 11 and 1 foot and 4 inches. So mesh guides. I'll make a copy of this here. Then I can rotate this and say, so 11 feet. Very good. Snap it to there, bring it back, Shift D, bring one to there, Shift D, and then this is 1 foot 4 inches. So 1 foot 4 inches. But how do I get this actually to the center? And that's actually really easy. We select these two guides, Shift S, cursor to selected. You see it moved the cursor to that position, and then Shift S, selection to cursor, and then we move this piece to there. Easy. So last thing left, because we kind of like have this opening, and we also have the trim. The measurements were done from the trim to the wall. You see how we're kind of like reverse engineering everything a little bit. So this goes back, goes to there. There, Shift D and Y, zack. Select both, Shift D and Y, G and Y, snap. There we are. So now I know exactly where these openings are. So this, now I can select Shift D, R and 90. And yeah, now I want to position this nicely. Also here we can do something like this. So Shift S, cursor to the selected. Okay, now I have an a Y, X, and a Z position for this cursor. I could very easily say here, selection to the cursor, there, very good. No, it's not 100% correct, so let's move this up. And then we move it down, snap to the bottom, very good. And then we drag it into the middle part, very good. Go to edit mode, so we can go to face select. Select this face, snap to there, snap to there, and then Alt D, Escape G and Y, bring this over to there. You see there's a tiny tiny overlap there. So that's actually very easy to fix, and I will show you that in a second how we will do this. So here's my door. The height from there to there is actually correct. But let's say sometimes we would like to extend this a little bit. There are multiple ways how we could do this. I will select this door, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then in object mode, right click 3D cursor. And now I know Z is actually 80 inches. Well, we can simply say 81 inches. So we overbuild it. Very common process to help the software to clean there. Here we can do the same too. Shift S, cursor to the selected, and then in object mode, 3D cursor. And you see how, in this case, this one here flopped back. Okay, and we just have to realign this one time. And then also here we can select these two objects with Alt, click on Z, and then type in 81 inches. Oh, Alt 81 inches. Oh, okay. Then let's do this with each manually. Okay, so we built this over. The first rectangle here, it worked. The second rectangle, it did not. And we have difference, exact, yeah, okay. So the bottom face of my cutting object lines up with the bottom face of my wall. That's not an ideal situation. If I would move this just a tiny bit, like a thickness of a piece of paper, you see, it fixes it. But honestly, the best method is follow overbuilding principles. This is also what we do in CAD a lot. We help the software to understand how volumes cleanly intersect. There we are. So this object we can call maybe door bifold. And then here we do the same. Actually, we can copy and paste the name. See, I can also name objects here inside the object property. There, and this one got named. Very good. Mesh guides and openings. Yeah. Very good. Easy. Let's save. Let's take a look at our... Where's our reference actually? Oh, the reference only pops up when we are in orthographic view. So let's turn this on. So the opening, yeah, how big is the opening now? So from the top down foot, from the top down 5 feet and 8. And then here we have the dimensions. I put these measurements in on purpose just to show you how we can always navigate architectural drawings and dimensions and reverse engineer what we are looking at. So we will do the following. So along Y, there actually we can tell this object to be 4 feet and 8 inches, because that is 5 feet minus 1 foot. No? So y 4 feet 8 inches. Very good. Then our x and 90. Let's bring this closer. So there we snap it to there. And now we can bring this down 1 foot. Here, minus 1 foot. Okay. So how do we do now the left and right? Let me show you a second or a different process. So this edge I will bring to there. And here it says it goes, the distance is 1 foot 8 inches. Okay. So from here, 1 foot 8 inches. 1 foot 8 inches. There. And then from here, go to there. Snap. That is 4 feet 5 inches. Bring this back. 4 feet 5 inches. Now you see it's not really that complicated. Now this is the opening, excluding the trim, so the window itself actually will be smaller. And again here this is 6 feet or 6 centimeters. So how do we do this? How do we find this rectangle? In this case now with this face selected, we can press I. Oh, you see how this actually does an uneven offset. So Control 0, undo in object mode. We need to apply the scale there. Object mode, I click, and then here we type in 6 centimeters. Cool. This is the rectangle we need. Control I. In my case, I have all the edges selected. X and delete edges. There, otherwise, select the correct vertices and delete vertices. So, this is actually my window. I can E and Y. Oh, I'm not in edit mode. E and Y. There. Make this a little bit bigger so it intersects. A, Shift S, cursor to selected. Object mode, 3D cursor to reset it. Very good. Also here we will set the visibility to wire. And then this is window boolean. Save, and I pop this one in there. We might not see anything. Just going to edit mode, leave edit mode. Oh, what's going on? Okay, maybe there's an issue with the mesh. So let's go into edit mode. Go to bounce, sorry, not bounce, solid, and then we will take a look at face orientation. Yeah, there it is. It's inverted. So with everything selected, A, mesh, normal, calculate outside. There we are. That was it. And then we can turn this off. And cool. We basically have now most of the stuff done. The only thing left is actually our floor. So here we select our floor object, not the subfloor. Go into edit mode. Select these 2 edges, so this one and this one. Right click, subdivide. 1, 2 times. Hold on. Actually, undo. Maybe show the points will be easier. Point select, so right click, subdivide. So now we have 1 opening, 2 openings. Okay, good. So we select and press F. You see how it fills actually then the space. F, and then these 2 points here, select, move and snap. Here again, move and snap, move and control snap. There we are. So there we built actually our hardwood floor as it would flow around the interior walls. And oh, here we forgot this. So you and you right click twice, and then this goes to there, this point goes to there, and these points, to make this more complete, E and Y snap to there. And yeah, that looks good. Okay, ready for this one. No, ready with this one.